A dramatic change of direction is expected in the federal government's efforts to address climate change, and that could have a substantial effect on our region.
He called it the existential threat of our time. And President-elect Joe Biden has indicated that combating climate change will be high on his list of priorities when he takes over the Oval Office.
Folks, we're in a crisis. Just like we need to be a unified nation in response to COVID-19, we need a unified national response to climate change. We need to meet the moment with the urgency it demands, as we would during any national emergency.
Howard Lerner is the president and executive director of the Environmental Law and Policy Center.
And I think what you're going to see with President-elect Biden is say, what can the federal government and the states do working together to take the climate change solutions priority and really accelerate it?
This approach is in sharp contrast to the policies of Donald Trump, who announced in 2017 that the United States would withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries.
Many criticized Trump's move.
President Trump has sought to wipe climate solutions and climate actions off the federal government's responsibilities and literally the language off the federal government agencies' websites. So when President Trump pulls us out of the Paris Climate Accord, that isolates the United States. It means we're going to be part of the problem, not part of the solution. It allows other countries to step up and lead.
In the days after the 2020 election, then President-elect Biden vowed to reverse President Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Accord.
America will be back at the international table. We will rejoin the Paris Agreement on day one of my presidency.
Again, in contrast with Trump, Biden has also pledged to put the United States on a path to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. It's a move that United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says is critical to the future of the planet. Guterres spoke with CBS News during a consortium on climate change.
I think that the fact that the incoming administration has announced that they will again join the Paris Agreement and they will commit to net zero emissions in 2050 is absolutely crucial to rescue the planet. And I believe this is a fundamental contribution. There is no way we can solve the problems of the relationship between humankind, nature, between us and the planet without a strong American leadership.
So what will the transition from a Trump administration to a Biden agenda look like for the Great Lakes region? Samantha Williams directs the Clean Energy Program for the Natural Resources Defense Council's Midwest region. She expects to see 3 big changes.
So the first is a transition to renewable power. We'll be seeing big wind farms, big solar farms, particularly built in rural parts of the region. The second is clean cars, and the third is cleaner and more efficient homes and buildings.
Biden's strategy on climate control includes a $2 trillion economic plan to transfer fossil fuels to clean energy and make electricity production carbon-free by 2035. Nick Schreck is an associate dean at the University of Detroit Mercy School of Law and the former executive director of the Great Lakes Environmental Law Center.
There are more people working today in the solar energy sector than there are in the coal energy sector in this country. And so that shift is already happening. I think we'll see even more investments in job creation in things like energy efficiency, meaning helping people weatherize their homes, weatherizing businesses to make them more energy efficient.
Renewable energy is only part of the plan. The Biden administration is also exploring ways to clean up transportation.
The number one driver of greenhouse gas emissions in this country is now the transportation sector. So that means cars, trucks, buses, et cetera. So I think you'll see a renewed push from President-elect Biden, who has been a huge proponent of public transit. He, famously rode the Amtrak train from his home in Delaware back to Washington, D.C. as a senator. And so I think you'll see more investments in rail, buses, public transit, that type of thing, with an eye towards reducing our carbon footprint.
President-elect Biden has pledged to set new standards for fuel economy and encourage the production of electric vehicles, or EVs.
So for cars that still run on gas, they are going to be increasingly fuel efficient and increasingly cleaner. But you're also going to start seeing just more access to EV passenger cars. You're going to see them at dealerships. You'll see them driving around in your community. You'll have more EV charging stations popping up at the shopping mall or even in traditional places where a gas station would have been.
How successful the Biden administration will be in addressing climate change remains to be seen. Congress and the nation are deeply divided. Still, many are optimistic that the Biden administration will be good for the Great Lakes region.
President-elect Biden won his election by preserving, as he put it, the blue wall. He won in Wisconsin, he won in Pennsylvania, he won in Michigan. Look for him to step up and say, when it comes to the Great Lakes, we're going to do more to protect the world's largest freshwater body that supplies safe, clean drinking water to more than 40 million people and is the economic engine that drives the economy.
At Great Lakes Now, we aim to cover the Great Lakes region and the people who live here, like you. Please follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our newsletter at greatlakesnow.org.